Hello, and welcome again to the Consciousness Athlete site. You know, most authors, you do websites with their name. So for instance, I could have done BethanyGagne.com, but I didn't want to do that because I always have this passion for empowering all of us, right? And so what I've done is in this website, if you'll notice, it's consciousnessathletesplural.com, because I know that each and every one of you has amazing wisdom and has insights that the infinite has been teaching you. And you could have like the most powerful thing to share with other people, right? So I created this website where I really wanted to encourage a dialogue, a communication among people who are playing life at this level. So you could think of it as like a private Facebook group without worrying about all sorts of Facebook issues, right? So that being said, we do keep it. We don't want to keep anything. We don't want to have anything controversial in here. All we're going to talk about is how do we implement consciousness into everyday life, and how do we practically apply consciousness principles to everyday life. So I've made it that there's 3 levels to this website at this point, and that is the first level is Consciousness Explorers. That's for anybody who wants to kind of get in the conversation. They can make a login and they can just start talking. Maybe you had some numinous experience, some a mystical experience that you'd want to share. And so anybody could share that. Then the next level of the site is Consciousness Athletes. And those are the people who have purchased the book. You're using the Consciousness Athlete meditations, which are following a curriculum to expand and literally lead you quickly on the path of enlightenment. And so being able to use these skills in a regular way along the journey. So you've read the book. You know, you're using these meditations to meet the 6 criteria of a Consciousness Athlete protocol, and moving on from there. Now, then there are some people that have been working with me for years, and they are delineated as guides. And I've handpicked them. I have been coaching them, encouraging them along the way, and have been wanting them to take leadership roles. Again, this is not just about me. This is about all of us, and all of us coming into our power and strengthening ourselves. So the only request that I've request of the Consciousness Athlete guides is that they always bring the conversation back to these 6 components of the Consciousness Athlete curriculum, and you'll see that somewhere else on the site. But essentially the idea that you can bring in other materials, other sources, because I have had so many teachers. I have, you know, again, been basically searching the world for best practices. And so I always, every time I meet with people, I'm bringing in other resources. So I have no problem bringing in other people's resources. The part that I'm asking people to adhere to is to always bring them back to the 6 components of being a consciousness athlete, right? So for instance, you know, does the system open your heart? And if there is a system, then make sure it does. If you're using a system, make sure it does these things. Make sure that your heart opens in relationship to it. Make sure that you are becoming a bridge between heaven and earth, and you're grounded in the body so the energy can come down and through you. Make sure that your mental chatter, like for instance, if you're following a system and you have all this like chatter going on in your head about like how good it's supposed to be or what you're supposed to do and all that, when you start getting to these levels of consciousness, words just fall away, right? So if you find yourself chatting at all, you're actually getting further away from spirit than closer. The closer we get to spirit, the simpler we become. So if you find yourself chatting too much in your head, bring it down to the lower brain waves again and learning that, right? The other things we talk about in the energy field is, are we expanding our energy field? And there could be a system you've studied before, and you expanded your field back then, but then you got to that level of expansion and now it's really contracting. So always make sure that whatever you're studying is expanding your field and helping you step into yourself even more. Every field I want the athletes to always remind you is, are you perpetuating this consistent dialogue with the infinite love, right? Are you constantly, I have taught people over the years to make your head like a satellite dish to the divine, right? The idea that every thought, there should be no thought that should be held under in the darkness. You bring light to every thought. So these are, you know, being anchored in the lower belly. Like, these are the different components. So that's the only request I have of the athlete guides, is that they always bring the conversation back to is it facilitating these 6 components? Because I feel as though with all of my travels and all of the money that I've spent on my consciousness, these are the themes that I've worked with. You know, whether it's in a ceremony with plant medicine Peru, or whether it is in a Dr. Joe Dispenza, it doesn't matter. I'm always assessing everything in relation to these 6 components, and if that's not happening, that's not rocking and rolling, then I won't pursue it, right? So anyways, enjoy. I want you to share your experiences. We need to support each other because our culture denies all of this. Our culture denies it all. So there's no affirmation really in general. Obviously, there's small groups. But the idea of being able to share what works in practical ways in this everyday world, we need to support each other and we need to listen to each other. And for those of us who are living at this level, it's just, we need some company. So, so that's why I created this forum. I want you to enjoy it. Just please be mindful about what you post. And, you know, there will be moderators in case there's anyone trolling. But you know, really think about what is it you could contribute, and be mindful about what it is you post, and be mindful about your responses. So other than that, I'm looking forward to reading as many of them as I possibly can, and let's see what kind of beauty and wisdom that infinite love is going to reveal through these conversations. So thank you all so much. Take care. Bye-bye.